still setting up your stuff.
I actually just jumped in when you said, "Hey, you might be in here by now." So close. We were close. I forgot me tags I had to add and nonsense like that. So that's
Yeah,
it.
that's why I tried to give you like 20 seconds.
You're good. You're
I
good. So
pretty much knew.
we're all recording. We are live right now.
All right, cool.
Okay. I'm Matt. That's also Matt. You can find him at Forsaken. If you're watching this on my channel, then you've already found me at Matt_Zimmer. And we're going to babble about wrestling for a little bit here. Specifically tonight, NXT from this past Tuesday and SmackDown that just aired about an hour ago. And I forgot my waffle falafel, whatever the hell LA Knight called it in the kitchen. Sounds like a breakfast meal, but it sounds tasty. Kind of want it. So
Yeah.
I love LA Knight. So yeah, but that's about it. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the stuff
Uh,
fresh in our mind? Or you want to hop back to NXT and start chronologically?
uh, I mean, I guess we could kind of go like with what's kind of like fresh in our mind.
Okay, let's knock out SmackDown first.
Um, yeah. Well, before we even got started with this, there's some of the thoughts I was seeing from other people with Roman Reigns. Apparently, with him talking on that I think you missed a little bit. Uh, I guess the big question is if he's going to stay on Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. I guess that's the gist of it, of what pretty much everyone took away from it.
Because it's okay. First off, we can start there, but we're gonna double back to: did we really need to kick Jimmy in the face to kick off SmackDown? But that's a different story. Um,
All right, we can get right back to that.
yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. We can start with Roman because it is the bigger pressing issue. I get Drew's just picking on anybody who's helped Punk. Makes sense. Did we need to do that? I don't know. Jimmy's not going to wrestle because he's had a broken toe. So I don't think that was necessary, but hey, whatever. Uh, it was good to see Jimmy. Uh, and I guess it gave Drew something to do, but fantastic. But
Yeah, and I don't know, was that like them trying to almost like give him a heel turn? Because I don't think that's going to do it.
what, Drew?
Yeah.
No, just building the purpose of this because he can't go after Punk right now because Punk has that match with Seth, so it wouldn't make any sense. So what they can do though is the same thing they're doing with Kevin, which is Drew's going after anybody who made friends with Punk or was working with Punk at War Games. Anger by association, essentially. Same idea with Kevin, who's mad at Cody because Cody aligned with Roman, even though they spent 2 years or whatever trying to take down the bloodline. They did that, and in like 4 months, a little more than that, but about 6 months or so, whatever, 6, 8 months, suddenly he's teamed with Roman again because there's a different big bad evil coming up in the new bloodline. So both Kevin and Drew kind of have this same storyline, though, same principle behind the storyline, but with different people. So Kevin with Cody teaming with, being mad at him for teaming with Roman, and Drew mad because he can't technically go after Punk right now because Punk's in the thing with Seth Rollins. But this gives Punk some people to take out his anger on, which is anybody that was on Team Roman at Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
that's what's going on there. So did we need it? Not really. It was purely there for apparently Drew to just kick someone in the face. Essentially, is all that was there for. But that's fine. As for Roman, I knew what the promo was about. Him having a match with Solo on the first edition of Raw Netflix. Um, my brain did not connect the dots though that fast. It does seem like somebody's going to Raw in that scenario. Otherwise, it's just a random match on Netflix. And I think if you're going to go into the storyline of it, if you're Nick, the GM there, you wouldn't want your boys putting that match on Netflix on Raw. You want them on, the new season, so to speak, of SmackDown. So it does make sense that somebody might be going to Raw, and that makes that would make some sense.
I wonder if with all the injuries that they had to kind of change some of their plans for how they're shaping up this road to WrestleMania.
It could be that. My first
That
thought
might
is,
have
is
something to do with it.
they just want to boost as high as ratings on Netflix they can, and
Yeah,
Roman is that. That was my first thought, but it could be the injury stuff. That never even crossed my mind, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, yeah. For the first Raw on Netflix, they want to hit one out of the park with that.
Yep.
With the new the what was the Saturday night show called
Main
again? They've been
event.
ever main event. They've been it left my mind just as I was trying to think of the name just now. I already said it a couple times this night.
Yep.
Uh, but even that one they want to go all out. And I am kind of curious. You brought up a good point, like earlier in this week before we were even streaming about like Jesse the Bobby Ventura, where it's like, oh, he's going to be a guest commentator, and we're like, or you were like, for just one match, right? It's not going to be the whole time,
Sounds like
is
it's
he?
gonna be the whole time.
Really?
Sounds like
Oh
it.
God, I
It
hope he's
sounds
like, I hope he's
Ventura.
like a third Mike.
Yeah, Ventura. Um, made it sound like that this is. I read somewhere it's gonna be quarterly, so they're gonna have 4 a year essentially. And Ventura made it sound like this is all throwback, like not the normal stage, very much a smaller like ramp type walkway. They probably maybe use the old school main event neon light entrance. I don't know if they will or won't, but they could do that. And it's going to be a real stripped down version of what we're used to now, harkening back to the main event days.
Huh.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't use elements that lead back to make you think about the old ring. Maybe not all of it. Trips is pretty good at blending new with old. That was our one viewer. Why did you run one view? At
Don't come back.
one point
She's
was
back.
was perfectly content just watching from the chair, like using the chair
I
appropriately.
I heard a noise and wanted to double check my door was locked because I
Ah,
don't want the
that makes sense.
wife barging in here, not knowing I'm streaming,
That could be
and
a problem. I get that.
she doesn't want to be seen on stream. Period. But she especially doesn't if she's not
Unaware.
dressed appropriately.
Right.
So yeah, we don't want accidents.
That's fair. Look at how attentive the kitty is. Look how attentive the kitty is. Just yep. So but yeah, that's what Jesse was saying about it is that or Mr. Ventura, however you want to put that, was saying it was gonna be just a complete throwback. So we'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen. I'm sure there's gonna be elements of some new school fire thrown in there just because I don't think Trips will go full late 80s, early 90s with this, but that's how Jesse Ventura made it sound.
You know, that might be cool for like the first show, like just do throwback for the first one and then kind of start merging the looks together.
Yeah. Like I still can't see them not having like an LED board somewhere for advertising. Doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah, it's not going to be completely like that, I don't
I
think.
can't imagine it being that way. I think they're gonna do some blend. I could see them having the main event entrance way, which is a much smaller entrance way, for the first one, and I could see elements of the old ring, maybe rope color, things like that, being involved. But I can't imagine it being the exact same way. I can't imagine them going back to like the old bike rack style guardrails
Oh, God,
for
those.
this.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah, I'm, I don't know about Jesse commentating the whole thing.
I feel here's the problem, man. There are some old school people who've been watching for a very long time, and I guess I'm part of the group that's been watching for a very long time. But they love the nostalgia of some of these people. I think Schiavone for AEW is fantastic. He's been doing this forever. But would I lie if I would say that like I'd rather hear Daddy Magic? Um, part of what was part of Jericho's group back in the day as a wrestler. They put him on commentary in AEW a little bit, and
Mhm.
he is so good. And it's something new and it's something fresh. So would I like to hear Tony Schiavone a couple matches here or there, or with a little bit of color once in a while, but hear more of the new school um, guys on commentary? I think so, especially Daddy Magic, because when I saw him live doing commentary, like you don't get the full view of it when you're watching so, but he actually got up and got excited for some matches. Like he was standing doing commentary because of how excited and how much he got into the matches, watching it, and that's awesome because
Yeah.
that comes through in the broadcast. I'm gonna feel the same way about listening to Jesse Ventura. Like I'm gonna have moments where I think this is cool, but at the same time I'm gonna think I want a new feel. I want something exciting. I want something, and that's me. That's not even someone who's anywhere from 12 to 21 watching this that has no recollection of who Jesse Ventura is. They're gonna go, who is this guy and why is he talking right now? What's he know about
Yeah.
wrestling? Because of how old he is in their minds. No, it doesn't matter how good of a wrestler he was back in the day. If they have no recollection of who he is, it's gonna feel stale because they don't have the history. So
And
I'm
in
hoping it's
his recent past here, he's looked kind of rough.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's how JR is. Again, I don't mind hearing JR once in a while, but he's had it rough. He's been battling his, I believe, some cancer issues, and he's
yeah,
looked a little rough. And just between that and like he'll say stuff like, "I don't know about her hair choice," because it's like a hair color thing, and he's still from a time when I don't think they dyed hair like fluorescent pink or
oh
purple. And little stuff like that, you're just like, JR, I still love you, but it's like a grandpa thing now. Like, you're just behind in times right now, man. Like,
yeah,
that's so not a
that
thing that needs to be talked about because it doesn't matter. In fact, it looks cool, but I get it. It's not of your time, so
it's
you don't
it's
see it.
it's almost like Vince McMahon's like not getting JR as a commentator before he kind of came into his own in WWF at the time, and just like I just don't get why anyone would like relate to him in a southern accent for wrestling. It's not it doesn't seem like what we want to be, and then he ended up being just absolutely beloved.
Yeah,
But it seems like he's finally kind of catching up to that fear that Vince had, where it's just like he's kind of
right,
it's not even his southern draw. It's just he's just aging out. But then
right.
so did Vince kind of in a way.
Yeah, 100%. It's hard to keep up with the kids and what they want to do, and you have to. It's tough because it's not just keeping up with the kids in terms of what they want to see on TV, um, or what they relate to, but it it's just knowing when to not knowing when to not. How's the best way to put this? It's when things are off-putting enough to you that you comment at them that shouldn't be. You know what I mean? The things that are normal that most people don't think about. The minute you make a comment about it, even if it's not rude, but you made a comment about it, it kind of dates you and who you are. And if the demographic for what is watching your product is young enough, they're going to look at that guy and instantly just write him off because he's too old. That's just the way this society is now. We don't listen. We're looking at we have junior high kids committing to colleges, and we have people watching eighth graders for NFL purposes. Like we don't care about after a certain age, you're just too old. We don't care anymore. I hate to say it, but that's where we are. And it doesn't matter
Yeah,
if it's the athlete or the commentary person. If you seem like you're dated and out of touch with what's going on currently, you're gonna get passed by.
yeah,
Unless you're done right, unless you're used in doses, and then nostalgia kicks in and we love you. But if you had JR do a whole show again, it would not. I don't think it would go well. I just don't. And I think if they have Jesse do the whole show, maybe I'll be wrong. There definitely will be at least another person with them. I don't know if it'll be three, but hopefully there's at least three.
I kind of hope he's just like a third mic, where it's just like you have two, and he is, as you put it, he's the special guest commentator. He's like the third mic. So
The only guy.
if
I'm,
you gotta like cart him out of there, where it's just like this just ain't working, Jesse. Like, well, we
right.
won't say anything negative about you. You're still getting your full paycheck and whatever, but we're
We're just going
just
to lower your
calling it
mic.
audible.
Just going to
Yeah,
lower
lower
your
your
mic.
mic, or just for you go to an actual commercial that isn't like you're still seeing a wrestling match, and they just go like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll take
Thanks for
it
coming, Jesse.
back.
Let's go in the
Yeah,
back and have some catering.
yeah, and hang out back there,
I
talk
hope
to
I'm wrong. I
everybody.
hope it's fantastic. I hope they use him just the right amount, and I hope he kills it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's going to. I just don't think it's going to work out the way they hope, if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm unsure about the full show. Ever since you brought it up, where you're like, it's just one match, right? I'm
Well,
like,
that's what
I thought
AEW.
they were going to do it for the full show, and now I'm just like, you have a point. This might
Well, this is what they
not
had to
be
eventually do with
good.
JR, which is why I bring it up. Every so often, JR would do one match for AEW, and he won't do full shows anymore. And um, I think that's the best way to use someone like this because they have knowledge, and you want these people in your backstage area 100%. But in terms of the face of your company, they're great for nostalgia, and people do love them, but the age shows. It's like the Tyson fight. The age shows,
Yeah,
and you don't really want that as your product. So I think it's a good idea on paper. I just don't think it's, unless they execute it with the right amount, I don't think it's a good move. So I'm hoping it's just one match. I'm hoping it's just one match or maybe a match here or there. But also, how much does Jesse know about the product today? How much is he watching? Does he know the storylines in Liv's matches? Does he know what's going on in the Cody matches? How much is
yeah,
he going to add to the product?
yeah.
He's
That was what I started thinking about too. Where it's just like, is he been tapped out for years, and he just has to all of a sudden do a ton of research to be ready for this,
Now if he's doing
or is
color,
he?
then you can just chime in with random thoughts as it happens. But um, I don't think he's ever been the best at that. Now, late Bobby Heenan, the more I got older and watched back his clips, he was great at that. I think you could bring in Bobby the Brain Heenan right now to do guest commentary as color, and it'd be hilarious
Yeah,
because he
if he
didn't
was
add.
alive.
Yeah, because he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he was still alive. Yeah, but I always, as a kid, really never got the greatness of his ability to throw in these jokes that were
Oh
just
God, I
universal.
did.
Universal jokes that had nothing to do with directly related to the wrestler. You could have put any wrestlers in the ring and it would have been fine. And
It
I think he
was
could do that today and be okay.
it was great in WCW during the Monday Night Wars, with him just going back and forth with Larry Zbyszko
So
and them
good.
just sniping at each other.
So good.
That's half the reason I even watched WCW's train wreck that they had going on.
I mean, I forget who it was. Was it Piper and somebody? And someone grabbed the bell. Was it Brett? And was going to use it. And Bobby was just like, the old saying, when in doubt, use the damn bell. It's like, what? Where'd that saying come from? I loved the more I
Hey,
watched as I got older, I have had more of appreciation for Bobby and Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig was much better in the ring than I gave him credit for as a child.
yeah, we might have just not been into his like look, because his look was
He was meant to
more
be a heel.
for
I
the
was meant to
women
hate him as a
and to be
kid.
a heel. Yeah,
I was meant to dislike him as a kid, so it makes sense. And then you put him against the Ultimate
especially
Warrior, who runs around
especially
like a
with that
crazy
name,
person. Yeah.
Mister Perfect. Of
Yep.
course, you're gonna be like, he's not perfect.
Yep. But the more I watched, and just The way when he did not like who he was working with and the way he oversold was fantastic. That man got chopped over the top rope one time. That man back flipped off a head into the turnbuckle. They bounced us off the turnbuckle. He jumped on the bottom rope and flipped off the bottom rope from that. And that's all. I guess rumor has it. I don't know this obviously for fact in any way, shape, or form. It was he would perform that way when he didn't like who he was working with. If he didn't feel the person he was working with was working in a way that made sense, or was a real true professional in the ring, or he just didn't like them, that's the way he sold the moves. And the more respect he had for you, the more he respected the storyline and stuff like that, the more he performed like the really good worker he was. So
it was like the Shawn Michaels Hulk Hogan match where Hulk wouldn't do the job and Shawn's like, okay, I'm going to flop like a fish then.
Yeah, except Shawn did that a lot. More so in that match, but...
Yeah, well, that one he was being very deliberate to make Hogan look stupid.
Yeah.
Because Hogan just wouldn't do the job. And I like how Hogan would talk to like Stone Cold on his little podcast show. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know. He was like, Stone Cold was like, I don't know what I was thinking, why we didn't work together. We should have. I'm like, we know exactly what you were thinking. Hogan wasn't going to play ball. So you were just like, well, I'm the top guy now, not you in this era, even though you're trying to grasp onto it. I'm not going to, if you're not going to do the job, we're not going to do business. And that's why they got The Rock instead, where The Rock's like, I grew up with Hogan. I'll lose to him. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it was... We probably get back on topic. We got way off track somehow.
Yeah,
we are way off. We got decades behind it. We got decades off track. So, all right.
The anticipation of the new shows.
Right. Well, it should be fun. I'm going to enjoy watching it either way tomorrow.
Okay, so yeah.
I don't know. He could end up on
Jimmy shouldn't have gotten kicked in the head.
Yeah, I love that phone call. We want to book you. What for? We want you to come out with your crutch, stand in the ring, and then eventually get kicked in the face by Drew.
Yep.
I'm just here to get kicked in the face? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're going to eat a Claymore.
Yeah. So.
Hope you can sell it with that crutch.
Yeah. If the crutch ends up in like the first row, that's fantastic. Can you just launch that sucker?
Oh, God. That's like one of the only things I'd worry about, like with any matches where it's just like you're up in the front row. It's like, what do you need to be prepared to catch?
I caught a hula hoop strapped with thumbtacks one time.
Wow.
I was in the second row.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah, just from like some of the things we've seen with like just how some of the kendo sticks break and splinters off and goes flying. And you're like, oh, God, a gigantic splintered toothpicks flying at me.
It's rare things get into the crowd in WWE. Chairs have. I think a table has. I think Brock threw a chair into the crowd one time, and I think like Super Crazy or someone got one into the crowd by accident. It skipped across a table, and just with the height and stuff, it happened to get into the crowd. But it's rare.
Yeah.
The hula hoop of death I think I caught was between Nick Gage and Jimmy Jacobs, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So they chucked one out there, and I was second row at the time. I hadn't really known the rest of the wrestling crew I go to a lot of shows with, the Amy's and the Mileys and them. And it was actually flying over them. They started the duck, but it was coming down right at them/me. So I just reached out and just grabbed the hoop as it was coming.
Caught it so it wouldn't land on them.
Yeah, so no, it wouldn't land on anybody. So yeah, I caught
that's a good way to make friends. I stopped us from landing on you.
Yeah. Yep.
You want to be friends? We like wrestling.
Hoop of death. Chucked it back over the railing. They might need that later, I guess. Probably a Caden thing. Caden likes to bring in the most goofiest weapons that are deadly.
Oh, yeah.
The lawn chair of barbed wire was crazy that one time.
Oh, yeah.
That was at the Mega Show. I think you were there for that one.
I was there for that, yeah.
Yeah, it was PME and a couple other people, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
But
exactly how they used it. Basically, they should just ended up like doing some move in a way to sit on it. I think
it
wasn't
was
it?
a top rope move. I'm pretty sure they did a every time Ric Flair went to the top rope, he got caught move.
Oh, okay.
And then
Because
they
I
got
know
thrown onto it.
they didn't land on it in like a weird awkward way. So yeah,
No,
that now makes
it was
sense.
definitely a deliberate way where they made sure they were able to land purely with their back on it, chin tucked, no way to
Yeah.
get like their face or anything caught in it type of way. They were safe with it, but
It's a regular thing where you land on painful chair. Ow.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I'd imagine Roma would go to Netflix if that was the way it stayed, but who knows?
Yeah.
Um, what was
I,
after? What was after? Well,
well,
where do you want to go next?
a quick thing I wanted to touch on that, just a idea theory that sort of popped in my head. It's like if they had this problem with the injuries with the bloodline, I guess maybe they would still go try to go with this storyline, just alter it and work around that. But I mean, there's also a idea where the two can almost like separate, and one's on Monday Night Raw and the other one's on SmackDown.
Yeah, but if
But
the feud's gonna happen between the two of them, you can only bring them back together for certain shows like pay per views and stuff, and it makes it tough.
yeah,
So
it's
I,
just interesting where they go from here with the injuries.
I don't know if it's so much even the injuries because the injury only one that's injury is going to take him out for a while because I don't think Bronson Reed was ever going to be part of the bloodline for a long period of time. I think that was the
Yeah,
just to fill that space essentially for now.
probably.
Um,
Uh,
so really the only one that's going to be any length is the one tag team guy who tore his tricep. That's about going to be at
yeah,
least a 2 month recovery, I imagine. I think it's at least 8 weeks for a torn tricep.
yeah.
Probably gonna be a little longer.
I wonder if Bronson really is glad he took that gig. Like, yeah, I'll be the fifth for the new bloodline, and then that
It was a poor
happens.
career choice if you want to look at it from that standpoint, for sure.
Yeah, he just did his spot wrong. He
Yeah.
just
Well, it's scary to jump off from that high, especially at that
yeah that
size,
yeah, but then don't do it because I mean
and
he
get
tried to
shown up
break
by a little
his
EO Sky.
he tried to break his fall with his feet, and he's got a big torso and tiny little ankles, and they ain't gonna
Right.
it didn't support.
I think sometimes they don't realize that their feet are that far out ahead of them because Jay jumps off of stuff too. Jimmy jumps off of stuff too, and he still caught his foot wrong and broke his toe.
I almost equate that to like how the boots are, but
Does he wear boots?
I think so.
He might. Some don't wear.
I
I
think
wouldn't wear
for
boots, but like people
I
like
don't I
Finn
don't
wears
think
like
Jay's
Jordans
wearing
out
boots
there.
now. Yeah, like Jay, I think is wearing sneakers right
Yeah,
now
a lot of them
to go
even
with his look.
even with shoes on, like Finn in them, they'll wear kick pads usually, and they'll resemble boots because of the kick pads.
Yeah,
So if you keep an eye on that, there are a lot of them. Michin tonight on SmackDown, I think was wearing traditional like wrestling shoes, like you might see from
oh,
the way they looked, but you really couldn't
mhm.
tell because of the kick pads. I could be wrong, but just quick glance, they looked like that,
Yeah.
and the kick pads make them look like full length wrestling boots typically.
I didn't get that close of a look at it. All right. Well, anyways, you were wanting to move on to something else.
Yeah, because we're a half hour in, and because we
Yeah,
took a trip down memory lane for a while there.
yeah, we did. What were you trying to get to?
Whatever happened next? What was next on
Well,
SmackDown?
oh,
Um,
next on SmackDown.
we did have the Jade controversy as well. Jade being ruled out long enough that they're going to make a change happen with the title belts.
Oh, oh, oh. Okay.
Cargill,
Yeah, she's actually.
she's out. So Nick was going to have there was a backstage segment right after uh, Jimmy got kicked in the face for no reason,
Yeah.
where Nick was like, "Hey, Bianca, With no Jade, you kind of got to drop the titles. And Naomi was standing right next to her and suggested the idea of being her partner. So she didn't have to drop the titles. And Nick's like, and Bianca was like, yeah, you know what? This girl's always got my back. Even though she probably tossed, in the storyline, Jade off the truck. And
Oh, oh, good thought there.
yeah. So now
Like,
Naomi will have...
like jealous wants that spot, pretend to be your friend, and
Right.
yeet.
Yep, exactly. And made the suggestion of being her replacement partner. And Bianca said, yeah, this girl's always got my back. So they get to wrestle
Oh
next
my
week
God.
against Candice and why am I blanking on her name? Naya.
Yeah.
And they have to defend their titles against those two. And now it's the tag titles are Bianca and Naomi. So there was that whole thing.
Oh man, that I didn't even think of that. Like
Yeah,
I didn't even think that like she was the snake in the grass that caused that.
well, no one really knows why exactly Jade is off TV right now. It seems like
Yeah.
all the rumors, all this and that, who knows? So I don't want to speculate on that stuff, but no one really knows why. I think this bodes well for it being a not serious reason, like not a in trouble for company reasons. Maybe like an actual truly injury, not like be on someone's bad side within the company. Because I say that because this is the kind of move that if you want to bring Jade back as a face again, then you let this tag team run the way it is. And then whenever you feel like bringing Jade back, you have Jade reveal who was the culprit who did this, and it being Naomi then causes that whole rivalry to start, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this is a good move. I think it does help kind of, in my opinion, solidify that Jade's probably out for a legitimate reason and not some backstage heat, some nonsense that's being rumored on Twitter or whatnot. Because it does bring up in a really good way to bring her back when she's ready.
Yeah.
So now, if that never happens, that's a whole different story. But I think this is a good way to give that window still for her to come back and be like, you did this type of deal to Naomi.
I did it for The Rock.
Right. So, but yeah, that happened. And then, what happened after that?
Was that like the Carmelo Hayes?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I forgot about that. So,
Yeah,
this is another new thing. Did you catch this?
A little bit, but sort of like confused by it a little bit. Like,
now, what were you confused by?
Well, I was also seeing, I think, rumors before this going like, the WWE sent a message to Carmelo Hayes in between last week and this week, and I'm like, okay. I didn't know what that was about. So then seeing this where it was kind of like he had like a mystery partner or mystery opponent,
right?
I think it was. It was just like, okay, so what's that rumor about and what's going on here? So I was a little bit like,
I would imagine that the rumor you're reading about online is probably separate from what this is.
oh, okay.
Because I don't know much about that rumor, but it sounds like that rumor is stating that there's some backstage heat with Carmelo Hayes, which we're never going to know.
Yeah, I don't need to know anyways.
Right. So, but this match, put it this way, if you're on TV, you're doing okay. That's kind of the rule I'd go by. As long as you're on TV, you're not that badly in anybody's doghouse. Because the minute you're not on TV anymore. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You just keep going to show after show after show, but not getting booked. What I caught was them talking about Michael Cole, I think it was, mentioned that the transfer portal from show to show is open now until January 6th. So they brought in a college football reference where people can transfer from show to show, like switch teams essentially.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, well, are they still going to still do the draft? I imagine there's still a draft, but is the draft now only going to happen for NXT people, or how's that going to work? Like, how are you going to have a transfer portal and a draft? Truthfully, the answer to that is probably this is an easy way to shake up the roster and put the people you want on Raw for Netflix with ease. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They transferred through the transfer portal. They had till January 6th to do it. That's when the
That does make a lot of sense because Raw's been the weaker show in the past few months, where SmackDown's been a bit stronger.
well you put Roman, you put your main storylines there. What keeps hurting Raw is that they want the spicy Liv Rhea storylines there, but Rhea keeps getting hurt.
Yeah.
Well, before that was Liv. Liv was out for a while, but that's they want that storyline to drive Raw, and they can't keep them healthy, so that's hurting Raw a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is a good match overall. I think Hayes has a ton of talent. I really think Hayes has a ton of talent. So we'll wait and see. But and he was a good opponent for Strowman to just toss around because of the size difference. And right now,
Yeah.
Hayes is meant to be a heel and be cocky, so it works out really great because people want to see him get thrown around. What that does for the show, I'm not really sure because, I mean, what other big guys are there right now for him to go after on SmackDown? I guess like he could feud with the Bloodline, but like who else is he going to wrestle? There's not SmackDown isn't the show for big guys, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like even their
Huh.
champion's Cody. It's not Priest. It's not Gunther. It's not um, Bronson Reed. It's not wrestlers of the same stature as Braun Strowman. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm a little weirded out on like what his feuding scenarios are going to look like there, but they'll figure it out.
Uh,
But
I
that
mean
the
this.
transfer portal is the part I picked up on in the commentary and thought, huh, that's a easy way for them to say why people are jumping from show to show and doing the rearrange before they debut on Netflix.
You might not even just see Braun just on SmackDown. I mean, he could end up on Raw where it was just like he was just used as a surprise opponent to
Well,
throw around
I,
Carmella.
I would think that was the case if Michael Cole didn't use that for an opportunity to speak about the transfer portal and getting him from Raw. It sounded very intentional to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like also a line that they would get from the back. Like, hey, talk about how we got him through a transfer portal from the other show, essentially. That doesn't sound like something Michael Cole would just bring up on his own as a line. That seems like something he was fed to purposely drive a narrative, essentially.
Gotcha.
To me, at least. I could be
Um,
way off, but
there's still not quite no reason that he couldn't like go back through the transfer portal and be like, "Yeah, I didn't like it over there. I came back
outside
to
of it
Raw."
being really annoying to watch people just bounce for no reason, you're right. I guess he could. 100%. I guess he could.
Because
Um,
it seems like he's kind of newly back. I don't remember seeing him on Raw recently.
he came
What?
back and battled against Bronson Reed, remember? That was his big thing. He was wrestling Bronson Reed um, in the Battle
Oh,
of the Monsters. And then eventually Bronson, whatever, did the splash off the retaining wall onto the roof of the car that had him on it.
oh, and that took him out for a
That took him
bit.
out. And
Okay,
that's what was right before the Seth Rollins feud.
gotcha. Okay, I'm that was the part I was forgetting. As soon as you were like the Battle of the Monsters, I'm like, oh yeah, I
Yep.
remember that. Um, that's why I hadn't been seeing him because he was out. Okay,
Yep.
all right, that makes sense. Um, so we had the women's semifinals tournament tonight.
Oh, yeah. Both rounds.
Uh, yeah, uh, Tiffany Stratton in her little Christmas theme get up.
That was
and
solid gear. That was really solid gear for a random December SmackDown. Like I didn't see that coming. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I mean, it was a good look. Um, I guess I'm not too surprised by her losing in it. Um,
Why is that?
I I don't know. It seems like she didn't need this push with what where she's at, what she has with the money in the bank, being around Nia Jax, still being in the main event scene. It seemed like her going for the United States Championship was more validating for her to get beat by a potential future champion, which is what we probably saw here. Because now it's, uh, oh, how do you spell her name? I'm even looking at it right now. Mission? Is that
Meechin.
Michin? There
Meechin.
we go. But just pronunciation is my problem. I didn't hear
We
it
like
enough
Meechin.
tonight.
We have friends who've known Meechin for a long time, and we've met formerly Mia Yim on the indie scenes quite a few times. She is absolutely amazing in person, super nice. Um, Big fan. Big fan of what she did in TNA. Big fan of what she's been doing here and on the indie scene as well. They had her and Shayna Baszler had phenomenal wars um, at indie promotions, and that actually they're on the belt. I have like those two when they were at Absolution for AIW. That's the one where Shayna wrote her Queen of Spades signature on the belt, and then took it over to me to Mia or Meechin currently, and Meechin wrote
Mhm.
signed it, and then said Queen of Clubs, and then I took that back over to Shayna, and Shayna drew a big line to Meechin and wrote bitch under it. They're good friends. So they had a fun little rivalry back and forth on the belt that way. And
Yeah, on your own belt. That's
yeah,
great.
and I love it. That's why I was like I said,
I
you could
probably remember that, but I think that was because you showed it to me.
that was an absolution. And they're just great. Big fan of both of those two. And only met Chelsea twice. But Chelsea's also fantastic. Super sweet.
I I want to make a prediction here from how I've seen these two women's matches to get the semifinals out of the way for the finals. I'm thinking Meechin's gonna end up taking it. I mean, with Chelsea Green beating Bailey, just how she. I mean, if she's gonna get it, it's gonna be through uh, cheating with why am I blanking on her partner's
Piper.
name? Piper. Um, that's the only way I see her like winning it is like through cheating through that. But if it doesn't come down to that, I'm really thinking Meechin because it looks like the type of push you need to beat Stratton. That's in the main event scene. Is everything's questionable with the Money in the Bank, like I was just saying, and with Chelsea, she almost seems like she sort of got herself situated pretty good too. At least with the tag team that she's a part of, it looked like they already have like something really going there. But then again, how she kind of like uh plays kind of like a crabby heel that's just like annoyed at like losing her shot or getting screwed
She's a
over or
princess.
something like that. Yeah,
She's a
where
princess.
where she can play that role of just like like a tantrum about like losing or getting screwed over or something. And I don't I don't think she needs this win or this championship to push her better in like what she's been doing. I think she's already kind of like good on her own. So that's what I'm kind of like. They might put it on her anyways, but I'm kind of thinking Michin is. the
I would love to
target
see the
here in my
belt
mind.
go on either of them, personally. Again, they're both fantastic people. They're both
I
really nice people, and I think they both have worked their asses off on the indie scene into this scene and could both honestly deserve the belt.
Yeah,
He,
I wouldn't be against Chelsea getting it because sure, but that's just what I'm predicting. I'm
no,
kind of
it's fair.
thinking Meechin.
It's a perfectly good point to have against to have uh, for that case. Um, the way I see it, and first off and foremost, Piper did trip Bailey at some point in this match, but that's about the end of her interference. Chelsea wrestled a really good match this whole time through, and this is a match that highlighted that she can wrestle. I think
Hmm.
that's very was a big step in this match because she wrestled very well against Bailey. I think they both showed they both had equally impressive wins to get there because one beat Bailey and one beat a rising star in Tiffany.
Yeah,
Uh, Personally, as much as I think Chelsea had a good match overall, I think they're two different types of performers, and it just depends on who you want to carry the belt for the first time. Chelsea is a very much overall performer right now. That's just the way her character is developed. Where she's going to do the social media posts. She just did social media posts where she ran around and she had a hat on and she had a mustache on and she ran to everybody and said, "Who's your favorite wrestler outside? Like, is it your favorite? Tell me your favorite wrestler is Chelsea Green and why?" Essentially, and it was just her and a mustache. So clearly playing into this scenario. She has the big get ups and the outfits and stuff like that. And she shows pretty good ring work, and she's getting better every day, and she's not by any means bad. Um, Meechin, meanwhile, comes out and plays the part of a fighter. She comes out with kind of a gangster look to her, and her in ring is on par with anybody in ring in terms of their ability to wrestle. So I just don't know which way they want the belt to be perceived for the first time. This is the first time the belt's going on anybody. So honestly, big kudos to whoever wins it because is it a mid card belt? Yeah, but it's also the first time anyone will hold this belt
yeah,
in the women's division. So if this belt sticks around for 30, 40, 50 years, when they talk about the greats who first won it, Chelsea or Meechin is going to be brought up every single time because they were the first one to do it.
yeah,
That's kind of the downside to the Universal title being gone already. Finn being the first one to win the Universal title has already lost its luster because it's not that anymore. It's the WWE and the world. You know what I mean? So the Universal's already
yeah,
gone. But so either way, it can't go wrong. If you want the title to go on someone who's got the more of the fighter, defended all the time, really solid every single match, um, type of mentality, I think you put it on Meechin. If you want the person who's going to do the social media posts and be that overall character more so than anything else, and their in ring work is good and is, again, very good, but I think Meechin just has the more of the I'm a fighter personality, which helps her in the ring for her character than Chelsea's, because Chelsea's has to play to the crowd, has to do kind of certain things. I think then if you want the more of the overall character, you put it on Chelsea. Just what do you want this title to be to start?
yeah. I guess if the first time putting the title on one of them, you want someone that's more kind of in tune with kind of like the modern day entertainment where you
If
got
you
the on
want
social media too. It does make sense for Chelsea to get it.
right, if you want this belt to be on social media, do this, do that, and be in the spotlight for just being around a character, then it needs to go on Chelsea. If you want this belt to wrestle every single night and put on solid match after solid match after solid match without the filler of the social media stuff, if you just want this to be the workman's championship, so to speak, like a Seth Rollins championship, so to speak, then you put it on Meechin.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I just don't know what they want from the belt.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Right. I don't think you
Oh,
can go wrong either way. And they did a good job of building this to be a legit match tomorrow night. by having the one beat the up and comer and one beating Bailey. Both of those are big notches for both of those women. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, is there much to say on the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens thing? It's just more build up for Saturday night's main event.
yeah, pretty much that's about it. I mean, just more of the same storyline as Drew McIntyre, but for Kevin and Cody, and should be a good match. Um, Kevin could have beat Cody, is the implication, the last time they wrestled, but he was too much of a nice guy and didn't attack Cody's knee. This time, it seems as though he's going to do whatever it takes. And that's about it. The only thing real fast before you jump in or before we leave this show and go to NXT is the tag teams. The
Oh,
they had the
yeah,
two
Motor
promos for
City
the tag
Machine
teams for next week.
Guns, DIY, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting that both tag team promos were done in black and white. Don't know why that was a choice. It wasn't bad, but they both were.
You think maybe the one side, um, maybe saw like the version of the other side and just decided to copy them and just
Yeah, because
kind of like
good guys would be in like a
to
bright
rib them.
area, and the bad guys would be black and white. Like you wouldn't think it would be like, but I guess it just
Well,
to show the seriousness of the situation. I guess.
yeah, maybe, or just Mercy Machine Guns kind of likes that kind of look as well,
It makes sense.
and they did both that
MCM
way.
would be the one that would do that naturally.
Yeah,
DIY would be very naturally colorful. Like Johnny's gear is always colorful. It's
yeah.
ridiculously colorful. Um, but it was a good move for like the heel turn that they did to do it that way. But then then it does kind of take away from what MCM would normally do. I could see them doing that on a regular like that be their promo just because black and white. So maybe it was just like you said. Maybe one just was like, I like the way that looks. We're gonna do that too. You know what I mean?
The one thought I had on it is them, real life being Johnny's friends, and yeah, I had to actually fuel this feud. One of them's got to turn heel, so that all makes sense. But in a way, it almost seems like it could almost be like a little bit of a like sort of like backstage rib where it's just like, okay, Motor City shot theirs like this, and then these two go like, oh, that's how they're doing it. Okay, we're gonna shoot ours just like that, and we're gonna like push to be like have ours be shown first on the show,
That would be
just
good.
to fuck with them, just like as like friends, but like the audience here is just like, oh shit, everything's getting serious.
It could. You know what? Just knowing how much detail goes into WWE's programming, this was definitely a move that was decided by Triple H, probably. But
Oh, okay.
anywhere else, I could see that being the case. You're not. I don't know if do I follow? Do you have Instagram?
I do not yet. I should
Okay,
get it, but
because they post a lot of good stuff. I think there might have been one Twitter post I could have tagged you in. Um, they've been doing really good with showing the level of detail that Triple H has with down to the entrance. Now I knew this back in NXT because I saw a documentary that talked with Tyler Breeze. I don't know if you remember him or not. He was the model in down in
I,
NXT.
I, I mean, I remember seeing Triple H work with the brand new Bray Wyatt character and how he should be holding the
Yep,
lantern
that was
as they
recently one of
walk
the
down
posts
the
that came back
entrance.
out recently was him
Yeah,
about the
so
height level of the lantern and
I might
everything.
I might not have seen the one you're talking about, but I understand what you're talking about with Triple H's like attention to the detail with even the entrances.
Right. So that was one example was with the lantern. With Tyler Breeze, he would work with Tyler on hitting his points. So Tyler would come down, fuzzy vest. He was an international model And instead of having a hometown, he'd have seasonal residence that would always change. Seasonal residence in Italy, seasonal residence in France, and he'd come down with the selfie stick because that was a thing at the time, and he would know right when to hit his marks for when to be on the apron, when to do his little spin laying down on the apron, and when to hit his pose on the apron. And that was all stuff he worked with Trips with, I believe, to make sure it was on point every single time. And then most
Yeah,
recently,
like choreographing it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And to just hit those marks, because if you're a supermodel, your job is to hit your poses on the dot. So if you're a supermodel character here, hit your poses on the mark every time, essentially. It was part of the character development. Most recently, they showed one with Shinsuke before the most recent pay per view. And
okay.
him walking out and where the lights need to be on him and when he needs to kneel and how much light from what angle to get the right backlighting on him so you can see him, but he still has the eerie silhouette. No, then they tried with some top like house lights. None of that. They cut that out, and then everything to the ring, like even so, like seeing the attention to detail even in the entrances that Trips wants. I know that they had say in all the vignettes too. Don't get me wrong. So that's the only reason why I say that. But that kind of micromanagement to the details, which I think is great because Trips he understands the psychology behind it. That I'm almost positive that the black and
So
white
in,
vignettes are his idea.
so in a way to agree with you, but also kind of go with my idea that maybe it was Johnny, like maybe it was
They may
Johnny's
have made a
idea to mess
suggestion.
well. Mine made that suggestion to Triple H, and Triple H is like, I love it. Let's
He could.
go.
He
Let's
could.
work with that. And I mean, because what Johnny kind of got along well with Triple H, because as soon as Vince was out, he was right back to WWE
Yeah,
because
his
we had
contract
saw
ran
him at
out. He didn't have
AIW.
a new one. And once that Vince had to step aside and Trips kind of took over the first time, that's when he came back. Apparently, again, I don't know
Yes,
for
well,
sure all the details.
well,
That's what was reported essentially.
from what it looked like as soon as Triple H was running things with Vince out of the way, it seemed like he came back immediately.
Right.
Like they hashed out some
I just
contract and like we need to get you back here.
right 100% is how it looks. I'm just never gonna say that as like a authority on the situation because I just don't
Oh no,
know.
not as an
But that's
authority.
exactly
It's
how it
just
looks. Yes, that's
yeah,
exactly how it
that's how it
looked.
looked. Yeah, it was just like, oh, Vince is out, and oh, that contract got settled real quick. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep. In that
Good,
little
we get to.
break, he came to AAW and did a meet and greet.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
guess maybe I should have gone up there and met him while he was there, but I don't know. I'm not the big meet and greet guy. Other than I should maybe someday do it with the Undertaker before he dies.
good call. I think that's a good call.
I had a chance to meet him at our Walmart, not the Parmatown one, the one off of Brook Park. Uh,
Steelyard.
no, Brook Park. Over
Where's the one on Brook Park? Oh,
uh,
that one.
yeah,
He was there.
yeah. He was there like in the '90s. He was there. He was supposed to be there with a few other people. Um, and I had a chance to go do it. All I had to do is just tell my dad, like, "Hey, can you drive me to Walmart?" I,
You
my
should have. Yeah.
favorite wrestler the whole time was gonna be there. But I didn't. I don't know why.
100%
I've
should
just
have.
never been that way.
You
I
know, I like the meet and greets now as I've gotten older more than when I did when I was younger because you get a chance to ask questions to them and stuff like that. And I think that's a great thing. And I prefer the meet and greets with the people I watched growing up more so than the ones that are out now. So like I'd prefer a meet and greet with, like I said, with Jerry Lynn or Steve Carino's coming up, for example, versus a meet and greet with, I mean, who's someone in Seth Rollins, for example, right now. Even though Seth has plenty he could say,
yeah.
I feel like once they're more removed from the sport, they're more willing to talk about it a little bit more.
That
When
makes
they're
sense.
still in it, it seems like they're a little less And it's probably because they just get bombarded with interview questions all the time. Whereas once
Yeah.
they're removed for a while, it's not so much a concern anymore. Like they don't get bombarded with interview requests and this request and that request. So I think you get a more genuine conversation with someone removed from it for a while.
Yeah,
So
probably.
that's why I enjoyed meeting Steve Carino. Why I enjoyed meeting. Um, Kidman was good, but Kidman was still in the business at the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a whole lot of interaction with Kidman. Plus, the line was huge. I didn't want to slow the line down at all. But he was great for the students that the seminar went for. But I think Steve Carino is going to be great. Joel Gertner was great, as crazy as that sounds. Rhino's a good one to talk to, and he's announced that he's going to have his last TNA match, I think, soon. Might be
Oh,
tonight.
okay. Oh.
But yeah, those guys are great because they want to talk at this point. But it's harder to
Yeah.
talk to someone currently in the business because I think they just get tired of talking about it.
Yeah. I'm
So
just not much of a meet and greet, and I'm not much of a selfie with someone. You want to take a picture with someone? And usually I'm like, no. Now you can jump on me for that because your phone mistaking me for you.
yeah, it's annoying.
That
You have to
that
meet Barbara
yeah.
Dunkelman, and now it says it's my selfie. It's like, nope, that's
Now
not.
on that same convention, I got to meet Bernie and Gus and Ray before Ray went off to do his own streaming thing.
God, that was so long
And
ago.
and I really, for the most part, did that kind of like for like at least you and Jay. Just so it's just like, hey, here's these people. I actually got to meet them. I can prove it. I took pictures. Actually, for the one thing that they always hated, like the people that don't know how to work their phone. I was trying to work my phone. I'm like, I hit the thing, and even Gus ended up going like, "Well, yeah, well," because I was like, "Oh no, I'm going to be that douchebag camera guy that doesn't know how to work your phone." And he's just like, "Well, I saw you hit it. It didn't go." He's like, "Yeah, you mind?" I'm like, "No, go ahead." And they started taking all their own selfies with my phone, and
That's
I got that
awesome.
whole collection of stuff.
That's so awesome. That's the
And
kind of stuff that's
just
fun about it. That's why I like the
yeah,
meet and greets so much because you get those interactions with these people. Um,
yeah, and who knows? You get something like that. Who knows? They could have ended up talking about it in the Rich Dude podcast. They didn't, but it could have happened. I could
yeah,
be like, they're talking about me.
you never know. Like
Yeah,
somehow, some way, I ended up in like like 14, 15-year-old me watching Van Dam roll to the outside and Bill Fonzie take his pulse, and be like, all day, baby. All day, 24/7, all day. No problems. Not even tired. If you told me like 20 years later that at some point I would have got a group message in my DMs from Alfonso um, saying, hey, check out this podcast and having interactions with Bill Alfonso, albeit not many, don't get me wrong, but with
yeah,
Bill
but still,
Alfonso in my
any
DMs, like, never would have guessed that. Would have been the happiest person alive. So,
yeah. I mean, I'd say kind of at that point, like in a way, we
annoying.
kind of put him on a pedestal. Like, oh, I didn't never end up having that sort of a
I just,
interaction with that
you don't
guy. I
even know
might meet
when you're
him,
going to
but that's
cross
it.
paths with these people, let alone that. And then, I mean, that man has signed so
Or
much stuff for me. And
or he ends up at like one of our local wrestling schools, just being like he was for RVD, where it's just like it's pretty much it's essentially a short little drive for us to get out there and just be like, "There's Bill."
yeah, he was out there a ton. He,
Yeah,
he was managing PME.
yeah.
And I love those
So
guys.
so
So,
yeah, that to have that happen just like later in life, it's just like, oh shit.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of why I like the meet and greet so much, is because you get good conversations and you get a chance to talk to these people that you watched for so long growing up, and um,
And just as I
meeting
expressed,
like
some of
someone
it's
like
like really kind of
Liv or
some of it's like
Rhea.
cool memories where it's just like, well, you'll never get that again. Like
Right.
Ray with the rest of the Rooster Teeth guys. I mean, you could, but not like that.
No, no. So I think meet and greets are worth it. It's fun. Um, Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes you get rushed through by the photographer. Sometimes Paige spins you around and jumps on your back for a piggyback ride. You just never know.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those of like that'll never friggin' happen again. But holy crap, I'm glad it did.
Right. That was just like, what pose do you want? Oh, you're the talent. You tell me.
That
And that
that
was
has that has to be the best one you've ever gotten
that was the
because
funnest meet and greet in terms of that because it was a
you
big
can
huge
see it
surprise.
in your face. You're just like, oh shit, she's doing this.
I had no idea. I'm lucky I didn't just drop her. Okay, I'm lucky I caught her. She didn't
Well,
just jump up my back and
yeah,
slide down, and then I would have felt really dumb. Like, because listen, she's jumping on my back, so I have to grab up around her ass essentially to catch her, right? Like thighs and ass to catch her. Like,
was she married at the time?
no,
You might have had a shot.
like so, but you have to do so. Like, if I don't do that because my brain says don't do that, then she just hits my back and slides off, and I feel dumb. Like, or she just chokes me to the ground, and then we're naked choke. So
Well, if she gives you that opening, you go with it and you just
I mean,
play
I just caught
modest.
her
Like
like I
I
just caught her
had to
like a normal
catch you so you
piggyback
didn't
ride.
fall on the ground.
But I just caught it like a normal piggyback ride. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just
Yeah.
like that there was that. So like, but she was super cool too. Like she had so much heat for such dumb shit. She was super nice, and she's always been super cool with her fans. Like, um, at the Q&A, her and Dolph did the
Mm.
Q&A. This smallest, most adorable little girl comes running up to give her a gift, and somehow something she was wearing, maybe her necklace, like the little girl's necklace, got caught in Paige's extensions. And it was a mess, but she rolled with it for so long and laughed it off once they finally got the necklace out of her extensions and stuff like that. But like
Uh-huh.
it was a literal like 5 minute ordeal to get this girl's necklace untangled from her hair / extensions in her hair
Just like gave the little girl a hug and it just
and
got
just got
caught.
caught. Just got
Oh
caught.
man.
Just some bad luck. So, but
Oh.
she did not have. I mean, she laughed and had the most fun with it you possibly could. So, um, thinks she catches way too much heat for how nice she is as a person.
Yeah.
Um, we're at a little over an hour, so let's hop over to NXT, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest. Like we better get over to that.
I mean, if we do 2 shows and some predictions in an hour and a half, that's not too bad. That's what we're
Yeah.
on pace for. Oh, I did find this. I'm going through and organizing stuff, and I have a couple different binders I'm putting together. And apparently, one of the cards I got recently, it's too dark, is an Oba Femi rookie card.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it is
I
too
need to
dark
add
for
a
me to see.
light above the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's got a hit with a flashlight.
pretty much. Well, I had a ring light there, and it fell off the table it's on, and so I have a different stand with no light on it at this point. So
Oh.
um,
Okay.
it works for what it is, but it doesn't help with like, things like that. But I
Yeah.
also found a Andre Chase rookie card in there. I have 3 different Tiffany Stratton rookie cards. The rookie card collection is growing, apparently.
Oh.
But yeah, no, just seemed topical since he came back to NXT, so I thought I'd bring that out.
Yeah.
Why he came back to NXT, I don't know, but he came back to NXT.
Yeah, didn't it really seem like he was gonna
He was supposed to be
go?
called up. He was supposed to be done, going to the main roster.
I, have him feud with Braun Strowman. Damn it, he needs someone big.
You would think. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know why they brought him back down. As much as I didn't want to see him in the Iron Survivor match, I mean, it makes sense that the next thing he does if he's back in NXT is goes after the main title, but I don't know why.
Oh,
I don't know
I
why he
wonder.
came back.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Yeah, because it seemed like it was so obvious where it's just like, okay, yeah, he drops the title
And
and
he goes
you
up.
gonna, yeah,
And
go see him.
on top of that, there was reports that he was doing his goodbyes and everything for everyone in the locker room afterwards, and yet here he is, a couple months later, back.
Oh, it's so wild. It's just, I wonder
Maybe
what happened.
maybe the storyline they were going to use him in didn't happen. Maybe he was going to battle Bronson Reed or something, and then Bronson got put in with Seth, and they just had nothing for him. I don't know.
or one of the moves they had to make with someone else due to injuries and what have you, and it's just like, yeah, dance partner we're gonna put you with, he's booked up. We're gonna put you back down in NXT for just a little bit,
Yep.
and then we'll bring you back up.
Yep. We'll build you up with the main title a little bit, and then we'll bring you back up. Yeah, I don't have any clue.
Yeah, it's weird,
No clue on that one.
and not even rumors are like
Nothing I
circling around.
saw.
Hmm.
Nothing that I saw for. There's someone did report something, but I didn't bother clicking on it. Not gonna
Oh,
lie, I just didn't bother clicking
okay.
on it. I mean, the whole show for NXT was pretty good. Uh, my new favorite stable just gets better and better with the return of Shotzi.
Oh, uh,
That was that tag match.
what? Why am I blanking on that?
Tatum Pays Paxley and Gigi Dolan versus um, Perez and Cora Jade. They came out, Cora Jade and them came out in the all white matching.
Okay.
Wait, no, that wasn't that match. I'm sorry. That was
Wait, no, that is kind of like, well,
no, that's not
it,
that
it,
match. I messed up. That's on me.
oh, okay.
That's 100% on
Well,
me because it was
I
part
mean,
of
you're
Fatal
getting the,
Influence. It was part of Fatal
yeah.
Influence. It was
So,
JC and
yeah, it's Fatal Influence
yes, it was three
versus
on two with
Tatum
Fatal
and,
Influence because
okay.
JC is the big concern there because JC was the one that was in a stable with Gigi before that. That's why if
Okay.
you watched, JC's like she's obsessed with me. It's because they were part of Fatal Attraction back with Mandy Rose, back before Mandy got
Oh,
outed
okay.
by the company for having an OnlyFans essentially that they didn't like. So they fired
Ah,
Mandy. Mandy went on to make millions with her OnlyFans. So it doesn't hurt Mandy at all. And then
no.
Gigi and JC had to go kind of like split up and find new ways. And JC ended up in this Fatal Influence or whatever it's called. So yeah, my bad. Who did Roxanne and we'll get back to that.
Okay, so Shotzi Blackheart, as I'm seeing it here, she's who came back to even that
Correct.
out.
They cut out Blackheart
Okay,
from her name. It's just Shotzi, but yeah, it's Shotzi Blackheart.
gotcha. Well, with looking at the card that they have up here, it's just like Shotzi Blackheart
They
and
don't like multiple
Barely
names.
in all
Unless you're
caps. Like,
Roman
oh, jeez.
Reigns, you don't get multiple names.
Yeah,
Adrian Neville left NXT, became Neville. It's just how it goes.
yeah. Part of it makes sense because it's easier to remember the one name. I mean, it's why I don't like Tonga and Tongaloa. It's just like, ah, why is the like last part of that name and the first part of that name like the same? You just made it so confusing,
It's tough.
and you didn't make them wildly different. You made them very
The same
close
problem with the
to being the
Usos.
same.
It was the same problem with the Usos for a while.
Yeah,
So they'll eventually distinguish. If they need to, they'll distinguish each other eventually from each
that
other.
was yeah. I remember that being a problem with the Usos. It's like, yeah, it's Jay and Jimmy. It's like, what? Which one?
Which one's which?
Like, damn it.
So, but yeah. So Fatal Influence and Tatum and Gigi, and you kind of figured something was in the works because Gigi was like, "There's still three of them and two of us," and Tatum's like, "No, don't worry, I got that figured out." And Shotzi, you may not recognize who she is because she's been out with a torn ACL, I believe. She came
Uh-huh.
down to NXT to wrestle a match or two back when they were just sending people down just to kind of boost the ratings in the CW. And I
Okay.
think she came off the apron, if I'm remembering correctly, and she tore her ACL when she landed, just hopping
Oh,
off the apron. So she's been
is
out for
that?
a while
Ugh.
with that, and this was a perfect place for her to come back to because it gives them a chance to even up the sides, and she just fits with those two. She fits so well with those two, Gigi
Yeah.
and Tatum, that it's just perfect. So she also posted that Um, her ring gear. So one of the straps on her chest piece, so right over the breast, one was Tatum's face and one was Gigi's face. She put her on. She put them on her ring gear when she came down to the ring. So just a fun little thing. Interesting social
I don't
media
know if I
post.
saw that. Yeah.
Um, it was just Shotzi's own I think it was a Twitter post of just essentially her just zooming in on her chest with her phone, showing off the photos on the front of each side
Huh.
of Gigi and Tatum. But fantastic. I love all three of them. Only met Gigi. Seen Shotzi once live. Um, but love all three of them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like Team
gonna.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Team Crazy Sexy
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah. Of course you do. uh, uh, yeah. I'm gonna have to pay closer attention to them. I mean, I've seen Tatum enough now. I like what she's doing. So.
Gigi's been around. Well, Shotzi's probably been around the longest. She probably got signed first. She's been in NXT and then already brought up to main roster and come back down.
Mm,
Uh, Gigi's probably the second longest
okay.
signed wrestler. I don't know why she was gone for so long, to be honest with you. Um, and maybe they just didn't have a good plan for her after uh, their previous stable with JC and Mandy broke up. I don't really know why they didn't have anything. Maybe they just didn't have anything strong with her. So she's been out running around with her, I think, husband or fiance, which is one of the Rascals, Wes,
Okay.
or Nash Carter in the WWE previous universe.
Mm.
But he's still wrestling on like Impact, I believe, currently. But um, and a little bit in NXT because he was part of the whole thing when they brought the Rascals back to deal with other people, and then eventually Wesley turned on Trey and them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so she's with that dude, and then Tatum is the newest addition to the WWE, but she's been the most prominent recently, which is why you know of more of Tatum than you do Gigi or Shotzi.
It helped with the Halloween stuff with her getting locked in a trunk.
Yeah, just that's just she's just that much more recent than the others. That's
You
to you,
know.
but the other two have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Shotzi was probably signed to WWE before 2020. Gigi was probably signed in 2021, the latest. And Tatum's probably been there since 22 or 23, if I had to guess. So just to give you an idea of when they all showed up, just you
Okay.
jump back in when they weren't there.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, but I'm super stoked for that. I don't know how long any of them are going to stay in this group, but they have my attention for as long as they're stable. Who the hell did Roxanne and
I I oddly got my attention on Hank and Tank, and I think it's just the rhyming.
you know what?
Because they're
Hank and
they're
Tank reminded me of someone.
they're fun. I don't know if they're all that particularly amazing quite yet to me, although maybe, but I like that because it kind of harkens back to um like Opie and Anthony messing with one of their, well, he wasn't even an intern anymore, he was a producer, and making them come up with like some alter ego or personality or some other character where he was called Tank Hankerus. It reminds me of that. And then those guys have such fun of just because they seem like a Hank and a tank.
Yeah,
Just how they are. So I really enjoy that. Even if like maybe they're just kind of mid card and not too much going on, but I'm kind of paying attention to them because I kind of like their shtick.
they're fun. They don't dance around a whole, but they're a lot of fun and it might just be the jersey shorts combination,
Okay.
albeit different types of jersey and different types of shorts, but also them not being the most athletically, aesthetically pleasing people. Like they're just not this. They're not Finn Balor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They remind me of a tag team from the '90s. I really like, and I probably like them more than a lot of people do. Um, they would do sentons, somersaults, but they wouldn't do anything too crazy. Uh, they loved to bring a table out to the ring. They wore hockey jerseys and black basketball shorts typically. I
Was
am
this Public Enemy?
yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
They
say
had a
they kind of
public.
remind me. They remind me of Public Enemy.
Yep, 100%. They had a public, and so instantly I gravitated towards Hank and Tank because anything that reminds me of Public Enemy has my attention, and I was like, yes,
ECW, they
yes,
got the whole crowd going, "Hey,
yep,
oh!"
yep. Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge.
Yeah,
Yep. So
that's great.
I would not be surprised if they have them watching Public Enemy tapes, uh, at the Performance Center right now because that's they just have a little bit. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but they have to me a little bit of that Public Enemy vibe, and I love it.
Yeah, that I think you just nailed it. Why I like them, paying attention to them. It's just one, its name, Hank and Tank. And they got a little bit of that vibe going.
Yeah, they're fun. They're a lot of fun. They have that vibe.
It
Hank and Tank, you can't go wrong with that. That's
just makes
fantastic.
me happy.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
Okay,
Uh,
so what were you trying to touch on before I went to that? Because I was just trying to get that in real quick.
no, it's all good. Um,
Was
I was trying to
it?
figure out what match that was, but I think I'm actually 2 weeks off because we missed last week due to technical difficulties. I
Was
think the
it?
match I'm thinking of happened the week before.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I think
So
happened.
you
I was
weren't trying
thinking
to
of
get
uh
with the Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, and Julia and
yes.
Kalani Jordan. Is
Yes.
that what you were kind of getting to?
That whole thing cuz they came out matching and then that was also the same week that Gigi came back to make the save for Tatum and stuff like that. So, I think I was just mixing up blending my weeks together a little bit. Not having a show to do because of technical difficulties that I didn't get a chance to speak on it then. It all blended into
Yeah,
one thing. So,
makes sense. Yeah,
so
yeah. This is kind of like this is our first show back in like something like
two
two and a
weeks?
half weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because of the technical difficulties, internet, and then trying to get
Yeah. Well,
the software problem figured out.
the one was a flip book. Thanks, internet.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that was the week before. You had even worse internet.
yep.
Your side was just a flip book. I'm just like, oh, if you want to take my stream and load that up on YouTube, feel free.
Yeah, that
Because
was bad.
like
That
my
was real
internet's
bad.
okay, but you're still frozen. But
But
uh,
okay, who else wrestled? Uh,
well, the one is bringing up the Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez versus Julia and Kalani Jordan. That was Tuesday. Um, if I'm remembering that right, Julia kind of got jumped like in her entrance on the ramp, and then
yes.
Kalani had to come out without her music, I think, and just for the save. So that just started earlier on the ramp there, and then they eventually brought it into the ring. But Cora Jade and Roxanne still ended up winning that match.
Did someone come out at the end?
Uh,
That was the
what?
match that I forget what I was doing something during, but I want to say someone came out at the end.
Um,
Because didn't they someone jump Stephanie? Is that why she was in the back? They jumped
uh,
her.
oh, it's post match. Stephanie appears in the ring behind Cora Jade and lays her out with
Okay,
elbows and a headbutt. She breaks the kendo stick in half over her knee. I remember
that's
that
the
part.
part I
Yeah.
missed. Okay, because
Um,
yeah, Kalani had to tag with Julia because Stephanie couldn't go, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
because they come out of the EMT room and the announcer's like, "Hey, do you have an update?" She's fine. She has this problem, that problem, but these two cannot think they're going to run the whole NXT and blah 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 blah. And if they think that's the case, that's not going to be the case. And that's how Kalani ended up with the tag match with Julia.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know if there is anything else that big for NXT. I think that kind of.
Well, there is.
What am I missing?
There was two matches you missed. Um, One was less important from a title standpoint and stuff like that, but Wesley and the Bouncy one.
Oh, Javon Evans. Okay.
Yep. Which, if you're watching this match and you've seen Wesley from his very early days, it's watching Wesley wrestle himself back in those early days. Wesley was very much the same body type as Evans, with a very similar moveset where he was running somersaulting over the post, for example, from in the ring over the turnbuckle post to the outside for TNA and stuff like that. In fact, he had the same hairstyle back in TNA, I believe, as he does now, because Wesley cut his dreads off.
Okay.
So it was like watching a beefier version of Wesley wrestling a younger, more traditional version of Wesley back in the day. A good match, fun match. Don't know what you do with your Wesley at this point, though. You came off having an insane North American title run that was so good. You lose to Femi over here.
He did a Frankensteiner in that match.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yep. You lose to Femi, and then you just go on essentially a losing streak where you can't get back to another title shot, and then you lose to Evans. I don't really know what's next for Wesley personally. I don't know what makes sense for him.
Yeah.
Evans just continues to look good and grow as a wrestler. That's about it. A good match, good way to kick off the show. I think it was a solid opening match to get the crowd alive. I think it was good programming, but I just don't know what Wesley's character does next for a while. Because he was a good guy, then he turned bad with the Rascal situation, lost his belt, and now as a bad guy, he's just been losing, and I don't know what he does. He's such a good talent, I just don't know what he does. And the other thing you missed was the title match. Trick Williams and Ethan Page. I'm sorry. Trick Williams beat him at the pay-per-view at Deadline. Again, my days are blending together. So he didn't know what to do. So he sat backstage and he was kind of upset about it, lost his confidence. And then Tony, North American title holder, likes Ethan Page, offers him a match.
That's what it was.
Yes,
it was Ethan
that's it.
Page versus.
I had to get myself caught up because, again, Deadline happened. And after that loss at the Iron Survivor, he didn't know what to do next. And then that's when Tony offered him a title match because he likes Ethan and his mentality. And Ethan was like, if I can't win the second belt on this show, then what the hell am I even doing here?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, God, he wrapped that up with a spear and a spine buster.
Yep. And then, Ethan goes on to lose the match. And on his way out, Ethan goes to the camera guy. He says, I know what you want from me. I know what you want from me. I just don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do next. He's like, I'm lost. He goes, I know I call myself all ego, but I just don't know anymore.
He lost his ego.
Yep. Ego's got to get his groove back. Poor
Stella.
So that's where we are with that. Is that's more of a kitty cam.
Attack the cat.
So yeah, just another match that makes Tony look pretty good as a North American champion still, and progresses Ethan's downward spiral.
Yeah.
At least
Ethan
his
Page
downwards.
versus I was gonna say Ethan Page versus Wesley.
Right,
Give
right.
them both something to do.
Oh man, the loser's gonna hit rock bottom. I I just don't know what you do with that. I mean, in terms of Wesley, Ethan's downward spiral makes all the sense in the world because there's obviously a plan for his downward spiral. There isn't one for Wesley. I mean, there might be one, but it's not as obvious. So I don't know for sure what the game plan there for Wesley is. Um, Wesley might be getting some time off soon. Let him come back. There obviously is a game plan though for Ethan. I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
But that I think rounds out the last of NXT.
And here I don't even need to take notes for every single match. You'll just cover them all.
Well, when you forget my favorites, it's easy to remember which ones.
Hey, wait a minute, I really like these.
I really like Ethan. I really like Wes. Wait, hold on a minute.
Okay, I guess we're gonna talk about everything.
Well, don't forget the ones I like. No,
I didn't think they were important because they were depressing.
well, the one's meant to be depressing. The other one's just depressing by nature.
Okay.
Ethan's is meant to be depressing by writing, but Wes is depressing because he's a talent. I don't know what to do next with him.
Yeah.
But I guess lastly, what do you think about Saturday Night Main Event in the sense of, let's assume there is a title change. Which one do you think is changing hand? Or do you think more than one is changing hands?
Oh, I didn't think about title changes with that.
There's a lot of them going on. So it has to, you want to build this thing up like it's a premium live event because it's on TV. You got to imagine there's probably going to be at least one.
Well, is the Cody and KO thing even for the title?
I think it is.
Or is it just a
Good
grudge
question.
Because I kind of don't think that's for the title. I think that's just they want at each other, basically.
Well, you have two title matches. You have a title match for the United States title for the women's side. So someone's going to win that title.
Yeah, for the first time. That makes sense.
You have
that title is up for grabs.
Yeah. The Raw title is up for grabs. That is a now 3-way match with Gunther, Finn, and Priest. So that's
on
the line. I want to say Liv's title is on the line. I could be wrong about that.
I think you're right. Who the hell is she facing again, though? Why am I forgetting?
Io Sky.
Oh yeah, because she's the #1 contender.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
I'm looking for more matches.
Does it make sense that would go over to Io Sky? Wouldn't that just still sit on Liv for like a big reason for that title to be part of the hold it over Rhea's head, even though we're waiting for her to get like really 100% for orbital bones.
Yes. But the other thing too that's I find interesting is that they're keeping the title on Liv like the same length that they're keeping the title on Sasha over at AEW. They're like 1 day apart for 200 days as champions.
Oh.
I wonder if it's intentional. Um, I don't know, but I'm just wondering. But there's that. Some people are saying that the Cody match is for the title.
Oh,
I think the title that most likely to change hands though would be the Gunther title.
yeah.
Gunther could, because he's the only one in a triple threat match. So Priest or Finn could pin each other, and Gunther loses the title without actually losing the title.
Yeah.
Gunther remains pretty strong overall, and the other two build their own feud by pinning the other one. So I think that one makes the most sense for the belt to change hands. Um,
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting because it's hard for me to make a prediction on that one because it seems like it could go to any of those three. It could stand Gunther. It could go to Damian Priest because, I mean, he's probably earned it by now, but it would also make it make sense to be a thorn in the side of both of them with Finn getting it. I don't know. I don't have a guess on that.
I'm gonna guess Finn on that one.
Yeah.
The reason for that being is that you're gonna want to have more than likely knowing how they do their storytelling to a degree. A good champion and a bad champion by WrestleMania. And Gunther, I guess, technically is a heel, but he's not really a heel. He's just kind of a stern dude. Once they
Yeah.
dropped his henchmen off, he's just become this stern, stiff wrestler who you know what kind of match you're going to get into, but he's not really a bad guy anymore.
And
Without
after
Kaiser and the other guy running around doing a lot of stuff. Kaiser has interfered a little bit, but not that much.
and after Crown Jewel, they kind of made it a little weird where it's just like it's kind of like he lost his smile kind of thing. Oh, his confidence is waning, and
Right.
he looks sad instead of intimidating. It's just like, what are you doing with this character? Like you had it at a good spot. Now it feels like you're losing it.
Well, they had him do something that they don't normally do, and that's get under Cody's skin. And now they're doing the opposite, where Damien's got under. Um,
Gunther skin.
exactly. I think
Yeah.
the payoff in the end is Priest with the title, but I think putting the belt on Finn causes more controversy until then.
Oh, that would cause more controversy within their stable with oh goddamn with Dom,
Yep.
where it's just like, and you keep the other title on Liv, and then those two are together with the titles. Dom doesn't have a title. He keeps losing. What we need you for?
Right. Eventually, that's what that could go with there. So, like, I think Finn having the belt makes the most sense for most drama across the board. You have Priest gunning for Finn because Finn and him have their problems. You have Gunther trying to get his belt back. Inside the Judgment Day, like you said, you have the champions inside the Judgment Day, and Dom not having a belt will eventually help drive a wedge between Dom and Liv. Because there's already been so much speculation about Finn and Liv as it is, and a
Yeah,
very slow burn scenario. Um,
you put a belt on Finn, and
you already
you kind
have
of
a
pump it
tag title
up.
on Finn, so you'd now have Finn with two belts over his shoulders.
Yeah,
JD would have a belt. Liv would have a belt. Um, I don't know what you'd do with Carlito. I don't think Carlito needs a belt because Carlito just is Carlito. But
yeah.
Dom then becomes,
Carlito's really just being Carlito in that stable, and it's working.
yeah, he's the comic relief now. Like he kind of took the funny guy role, and I think Dom may have started as that a little bit because he was just doing goofy things and kind of like the goofy guy, especially when Liv was still chasing Dom, um, he will literally have no identity in that group essentially. And if
Yeah.
Finn keeps driving the wedge, then eventually that's how you break Dom out of that stable.
Yeah. Oh, but once you do that, what the hell do you do with him? Is he then just fighting Finn the whole time?
Maybe, but then the question becomes what happens with Rhea as it relates to Dom and Finn at that point and Liv.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot of room, I think,
there.
for writing in that scenario.
Yeah, there's a lot of room because like you could go a lot of ways with that. You could have a way where if you start doing the splintering of like Finn and Liv away from Dom, Dom could almost end up kind of like going back with Rhea in a way to get back at Liv and like a big comeuppance of getting her back.
Yep. Like that could be set up a massive match where Dom interferes in a way that both somehow screws Liv at one point and Finn another point, and ends up back with, say, the Terror Twins. He ends up
Yeah.
back with Priest and Rhea.
I
But
gotta
in the
plug my
process
headset
of
in real quick.
hmm?
Sorry about that. It started beeping at me. I'm like, oh, I don't know how long before it'll die,
Oh,
but
you're all good. We should wrap up anyways. But yeah, yeah, I just think that's putting the belt on Finn makes the most sense for controversy, in my opinion.
yeah, I think you're right.
So
Not that Damien doesn't deserve it, but he can still ultimately get it.
this is WWE we're talking about. This they don't mind a slow burn to get it to
Yeah.
Priest. So this, even if it's April before it gets to Priest, that's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could culminate at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and almost what would you rather have? A title run that's good, or a title run that starts with an epic payoff and you win it at WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that should about sums it up. We went a little longer than I was hoping. I was hoping for an hour and a half at the longest. We got to an hour and 42, but not too bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else? I'm pretty much
So
done. I
yeah,
think on my side.
odds are we'll be back on here again Monday, barring technical difficulties. About 11 o'clock, right after, not right after, but shortly after Raw. And we'll recap Raw. We'll recap what actually did happen instead of just our predictions on main event. You can catch this on YouTube at again at Matt underscore Zimmer, and this should be going up on Spotify more than likely from here on out. Next day, typically under, I believe it's called the commentary table. I might change the name of that just for branding purposes so it fits already across the board. It might also be called Wrestle Babble. Just because. But originally, if I was going to do a podcast for wrestling, I snagged the name The Commentary Table. Just
Oh,
because
nice.
it made sense.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I'll leave it for that for right now. Because this Wrestle Babble is I just put it there because that's what we were about to do. But we'll figure it out. We'll go from there. But it will be there hopefully next day from here on out as well. So that's about all I had.
Okay.
I will drag you into something I'm going to record probably tomorrow. When we deal with it, I don't know. But my
Right.
thought is this would give us just more content to be fun. But I'll talk to that off a stream.
Okay.
So that should do it. And I guess for Forsaken over there, Matt 1 and myself, Matt 2. Hope to talk to you again on Monday and see you then. Bye.
Bye.